Ready. All right, we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's July 6, 2023. On my right is Commissioner Cook, who represents District 2, and on my left is Commissioner Aaron Mazer, represents District 3. I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. Chris, what do we have first?
Okay, first is proclamations, presentations, presentation and acceptance of the 2022 audit report.
Good morning, Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. I would like to introduce Jacob Holman from, if you want to come on up, from Forvis. He is here to talk to you about our audit on the fiscal year of 2022.
Thanks, Betty. Well, thank you for the opportunity to present an update today. My name is Jacob Holman, a partner with Forvis. I also have Allison Swatters here, Managing Director with Forvis, who helped out on the compliance audit. So she looked at the grant requirements of the federal grants that you guys received during the year. So truly privileged to work with the county. This is our first year working with the county in this stance as a financial statement auditors. So before I kind of go into my presentation, I kind of want to just give a little bit of status update about where we are in the audit process. So our audit actually started in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, we were on site and we did what we call our risk assessment. So we really looked at, gained understanding of the control environment on the major transaction cycles of the county. So we looked at the cash inflows cycles, we looked at the cash outflows, the payrolls, IT, entity level, as well as the pension, OPEB, and investing and financing. So at the conclusion of that, we looked at the controls as it relates to financial reporting, and if there was anything that came out of that, we would communicate that in this presentation. So after that, we sent confirmations in January. We did a lot of work around property taxes, getting the property tax listings by parcel to ensure we were comfortable with what was billed and what was collected for the various municipalities, not just Shawnee County, but the various municipalities that are billed out of the county. And then finally, we were on site for field work in April and all the way through the end of May. So today we are substantially complete with our audit. We do have a very important process open, what we call our quality control or our second partner review process. So you will see that management's financials that are in front of you do have a draft watermark, and we will obviously have finals here hopefully in the next week. So really, I want to kind of go through what a scorecard, kind of high level, a 10,000-foot scorecard. If I was sitting in your shoes, what are the 4 or 5 things that I think are the most important about the audit process? So the first one is really just talk a little bit about the audit experience and about your management team and audit finance. So more than anything, I just wanted to say that it was a good audit experience. Your team was very professional, they were very courteous, and they were well prepared throughout the process. So I definitely wanted to start that kind of scorecard and inform you of that, that environment that they set for us. The second thing is around new accounting standards. As you're looking at your financials today versus the prior year, I think it's important to talk about, is there any new accounting standards and what changed in your financial statements? So the county was, they did adopt a new accounting standard, GASB 87 for leases. What that accounting standard did, high level, is if you entered into a lease transaction, it brought that lease transaction onto your financials just as if you went to the debt market. So regardless if you purchase an asset now and you go to the debt market to finance it, or if you lease an asset, both of those transactions are going to look very similar going forward. So we spent a lot of time with management on that. There was a lot of leases out there, both lessor and lessee. We looked through and did, after that work, we found about 5 of those leases on the lessee side met the standard to be capitalized under this new standard. It was about $400,000. So we worked with management and agreed that didn't hit the threshold that needed to be recorded. So it's actually what we called a pass adjustment. So management and Forvis both agree that that's not a material entry and it's not recorded in your financials because of that. The other thing I want to point out is journal entries. So really through the audit process, there was only one real journal entry that our team uncovered, and it was really just around cutoff of accounts payable. So stuff that was paid in January that should have been accrued back to December within one fund. So that's really good. That means that the financials that management's preparing throughout the year, the internal financials are very similar to what's going to be presented here in this draft. And then the last thing is control efficiencies. All those transaction cycles that we look at, if there's anything that rose to the level that needed to be communicated today, what we would call a material weakness or a significant deficiency, we would report those today. So I think it's good to acknowledge we don't have any of those that are required to be reported. We do have some best practice comments that we will share with Betty when we do finalize our audit. And we've already kind of talked through those, so I don't think that there's any surprises, but there will be some best practice comments out there that we recommend as any auditor should have at the conclusion of an audit. The final thing I kind of want to just go through is I don't want to get into too much of your audited financials, but I did want to go over just some financial metrics I think it's good to point out high level. So the first one is your general fund ended a fund balance of $42.8 million. Of that $42.8 million, $32.8 million is unassigned. So that unassigned as a percent is about 3.2 months of revenues this year. Last year, it was 3.15 months of revenues sitting in unassigned in the general fund. So that's a metric we look at as auditors to make sure we understand what's causing that change and that the financial health, that's one of the metrics we look at as it relates to financial health. So good that that's increasing. 3.2 is a good number of months of revenue. Your other major fund that's out there on the governmental funds is your coronavirus relief fund. The one thing I wanted to point out there at year end, and we're talking about 12/31, there's about $24.5 million of unearned revenue sitting in that coronavirus relief fund. So cash that has been received that will be recorded as revenue once eligible expenses hit that grant. The last two things just want to talk a little bit about is the total government activities, the net position or the equity of the county increased from $205 million to $217 million. And the business type activities net position decreased from 11.6 to 10.2 million. So the only other thing I have that I just wanted to make sure that the commissioners are aware of for 2023, there was a heavy lift last year for leases. There is kind of a brother-sister standard that will have to be adopted and will have another heavy lift for 2023. It's around subscription-based IT arrangements. So if you have any software out there, if you have any cloud-based computing, management's going to have to account for those. Same concept as leases. They're really the future payments that you enter into these contracts that are over 12 months are potentially going to have to be present valued and brought onto your balance sheet or your statement in that position as an asset and a liability. Any questions about the financial statement audit or some of the communications that we made here today?
So no, nope.
Okay. Allison, I just want her to talk. She spent a lot of time on the federal grant compliance, so maybe just like a quick couple-minute update on the grant compliance as well.
All right. Thanks, Jacob. And, hey, everybody. My name is Allison Swatters, and so what I did for the county this year was oversee the single audit, which is the federal grant compliance audit. And so organizations that expend more than $750,000 annually are required to go through a compliance audit and then test the compliance attributes required by uniform guidance. And so in addition to the audit report, you'll also see a single audit report that's attached to your financials as well. And with the single audit report, we issue two different reports. We issue a report on internal controls over financial reporting and compliance in accordance with government accounting standards, as well as a report on compliance for each major federal program under uniform guidance. And so we also issue an opinion on compliance with each major federal program. And so the county has, numerous different grants. We look at the most significant awards each year and test the requirements of those specific grants under uniform guidance. So there were three major programs this year, one being the WIC program with the health department, the shuttered venue grant that was for the Stormont Vale Event Center, and then ARPA funds, which is part of the coronavirus relief funds. We do not expect any compliance findings with any of these programs. Again, we're awaiting our secondary review, but at this point, do not expect any findings. And so what we look at with the compliance audit, it's different for every grant, but generally it's, the main thing is that the expenses that are being allocated to those grants are eligible and allowable underneath those grant agreements. And so, this year, the past couple years has been a very heavy year for federal awards. This year there was 14.2 million, that you'll see on the CFA, largely due to like the ARPA grants and some of the COVID relief funds. Last year there was 6.2 million, and then the prior year over 40 million. So with the stimulus money coming out like the past couple of years, it's been, federal grant compliance has been a lot of work and a lot of administration for the county. So, any questions on the federal single audit?
No. None?
Nope. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think that's all we have. We appreciate the opportunity to present today.
All right, thank you. again.
So, Mr. Chairman, just overall, we have a very healthy financial position from the county, and we've complied with all the GASB rules and regulations, and overall, this is a positive audit report for Shawnee County.
That's correct.
And the audit reports generally are best used when if we're looking at what our bond rating would be or what our creditworthiness would be. And so this will help ensure that Shawnee County remains in a very healthy financial position when it comes to those standards.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, very good.
One more point of clarification here. This is not 100% final right now. It's still in a final phase of review, and then assuming that nothing major changes, it'll be approved and accepted on a future agenda.
Yes, when we have the final reports, those will be put on. I probably will just put them on the consent agenda for your approval or your acceptance of the report,
Okay.
reports.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, what's next?
Item 3, consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $3,364,778.41. The highlights out of the voucher report. One of the largest is under allocations, and these are allocations made to entities within the community, including on this voucher report of $802,650, which encompasses American Medical Response, Community Action Incorporated, Community Action Elderly Services, East Topeka Council on Aging, Shawnee County Extension Council, Soil Conservation, Sunflower Community Incorporated, Topeka LULAC, and Vallejo Mental Health. And again, that was $802,650. Department of Corrections had $356,666.66, which is Aramark for food service at the Department of Corrections. Holding accounts with the state of Kansas, $292,423.93. Health insurance was $256,363.18. Our JADO allocation payment was $823,379.89. Under building and maintenance, we had Rail Work Track Services LLC for $110,664. That was repairs to the mini-track train. And then we had Torgeson Trenching Services for $18,168.34 for electrical work on the mini train at Gage Park. Under federal grant and summer youth camps, Capital City Flooring for $18,483.95, which was flooring for the 3 rooms of the Shawnee North Community Center that's being used for a youth camp. And then finally, under infrastructure, SBB Engineering LLC for $34,279.60 for survey, design, construction documents for Northwest 46th Street from Northwest Bunton Road to Northwest Rochester Road. I don't have any questions regarding the vouchers, would move for their approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item,
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I would move that we approve the correction orders.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item,
Item B, Department of Corrections, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-211-2023 with Alpha Media for a 3-month recruitment program at the total cost of $15,060 to be paid from the detention budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is a continuation of a very successful relationship and contract that we've had with Alpha Media. This has been over almost a year and a half that we've had this, and this has been a renewal of, we're doing it at 3-month bites. And it just seems to be very successful. We're working with them very closely on setting up what they call geofencing, that we can surround certain areas of the community that if anybody walks into them, it sends our openings. It goes right to Human Resources. We're working with our staff on doing personal testimonies about, or testimonials with our staff about the benefits and the positives of working for Shawnee County. So this has been very good for our hiring and retention, both. We've had some very good success at Shawnee County, and this is something that we would love to be able to continue to do. We sent this over to Jim Crowell in their office for approval. They've approved it for legality, and we do have the funds within our budget to continue to do this. And then after this next 3 months, we'll reassess. We want to go through the holidays. The holidays sometimes can be a little tougher time to recruit, so we want to get through these next 3 months. So I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Brian, haven't we gotten a bigger bang for our buck, so to speak, from our job fairs and one-on-one recruiting?
It has, career fairs are hit and miss. We've been doing a lot of specialty career fairs.
Because I know that when we had the job fair out at the health department, the number of applicants that came out of that was just a very, very positive.
It was, and we were out there, and that was a very good partnership within Shawnee County. That was, and I'm pushing that we do that again. That was very successful, having people come in right off the streets, be able to talk to us. So that has worked, and Alpha Media puts that out there, and will put out there, if somebody goes into a certain part of town, or they'll blast it out on social media that we have a career fair for the Department of Corrections. But this also helps. Sometimes people will come through here and see that it's shift work. It's like, oh, well, this isn't working, but I can still work in Shawnee County.
Now, your staffing levels have improved really dramatically from where we were at a year ago, too.
Oh, absolutely. We have filled, knock on wood, or, I don't want to jinx us by any means. We've come from the last year and a half from 70 vacancies, and we're now in the high 20s. And we're doing very well. I think the positive thing is that we're retaining them, which means we're updating our training. The hiring bonus and referral bonus has been very successful. We're just not walking around handing things out. We're talking to staff and people in the community about working, but we're getting a good group of responsible employees that are coming here. But it has worked out very well. We hired, I think, 5 this week, and I think we have about 15 going through the process right now.
Is this a necessary expense then?
It is.
$15,000, $5,000 a month, given where you know that you're getting a great return from having interpersonal contact, and then looking at your staffing levels, is this a necessary expense that we should continue? I mean, $15,000 is still money that could be allocated to other needs within the Department of Corrections.
That's a very good point, sir. And the reason I would say I'd like to do it for another 3 is the majority of the people that were coming through that are here, that we are getting at these career fairs, a lot of them are saying we're getting it from social media. So that has been very successful. And so that's why I would like to do it. It has been very successful. And the majority of the people that we are getting it, that are coming in. This is a tough thing to track, but we are seeing a lot of a lot of traffic coming through social media, and a lot of people, well, I heard it or it got on my phone when I went out to Target or something like that. So I would like to do it. I would like to reassess this, do this, and then reassess it in 3 months, because I could foresee us not wanting to do it after, let's see, we're looking at July, August, September. October, November, December are just tough ones to market, and I can't see us doing it for those 3 months.
Well, if I look at the proposal is made up of two pieces, the radio campaign and the digital campaign. The radio campaign is for 94.5 Country and 94country.com, 408 30-second commercials. And then your digital campaign is 100,000 impressions per month of video ads for targeted users on Facebook and Instagram, 5,625 page views per month for YouTube. And so if your social media is where you're getting your bang, should we be refocusing then on just the social media, and is it less than on the radio? And I just, again,
We could certainly talk to them. I mean, we're hearing it from both, the radio and social media by far has been the most successful, especially with the ads or the testimonials coming from staff, because they're really seeing a personal, somebody coming in and talking to them. And then we're putting a mentor with that person right when they're getting hired, which is somebody that can come in that we're putting the actual, we're not just doing a commercial.
and don't get me wrong, I don't want to let off the gas when we've had such, we've been at a very bad staffing, I shouldn't say bad, it was critical staffing at Department of Corrections, and now you are in a better spot than you were a year ago, and I don't want to let off the work that you've done or diminish the work you've done, but I look at the needs of the Department of Corrections and all of the different things that are constantly being worked on at Department of Corrections, and is this the best use of that financial resource?
Based off of the research we're getting and the feedback, it has been very good. And I would say for recruiting, this has been, I would say, been more successful than some of the career fairs. For us, it has been. So it just has. That one we had out there at the health department, very specialized to Shawnee County, was very successful. If we go to one like WIBW, when there's so many and they put us next to the Overland Park Police Department or somebody, whatever, we don't get the traffic, stuff like that. So career fairs are very hit and miss. This has been by far, in my opinion, in speaking with our HR folks at the jail, has been by far the most successful that we've had. That's the reason I want to continue to do that. And again, I can't see us going through the holidays with this. Not saying we're going to let up any steam, whatever. If there is, it would be a far reduction. Maybe not the radio, but just going social media.
Brian, what does the social media look like? Who do they funnel this through?
Instagram, YouTube, those are the ones that we had at very beginning, and Facebook, and they go to Shawnee County. We found out through other media markets, and I'm talking with another group, and Terrademic and them with Compass, and I have a meeting with them today about some magazine. The YouTube has the one that has picked up the most, and that they're seeing. But we're not showing our CERT team running out and tackling inmates or anything like that. These are actual testimonies from our staff, senior and new staff that are coming here, and that seems to have hit the personal interests of some of our staff when they're starting to see and coming up, and we're offering tours. We do walk-ins for an interview, and if this means that I come out and they'll say, our interview staff is busy, I do the interview with the staff and talk to them. I give them a tour so they understand exactly, because I've had some people say, I didn't realize it was this. Some people say, okay, it is clean. The staff are professionals. So we go to Instagram, YouTube, all of that. The YouTube has been the one that's done very well for us.
And the radio spots, you said it was on Country.
Yeah, we did. We had other stations, and these seem to be the one that, by feedback, where we're getting the most bang for our buck. That people are coming in. I heard it on this stage. I'm not a country guy, but I will tell you that not very many people listen to the 80s anymore. But yes, that seems to be the more popular stations, and so for me, I'm going based off of data. If somebody, is like, oh gosh, I don't listen to that, but I'm going strictly off the data where the hits are. And believe it or not, we're reaching into the Lawrence and the Baldwin areas, and 1 month we had more hits in Lawrence, Douglas County, down through, or Eudora, Baldwin, than we did in Shawnee County. So this is starting to reach out, and it's even going out farther west as well.
80s channel,
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Do you know what time slots these usually run on the radio?
To be,
I mean,
I don't. I know it's not like 2 in the morning or,
Yeah.
or, you know what, I think they're all throughout the day.
okay.
Yeah.
My experience is a lot of times with radio advertising, you get more than what you pay for also. If they have some open slots that they haven't filled, they'll typically throw you in there also. And so a lot of those middle of the night slots are free. And so I've seen that in the past. I would say that this is probably needed maybe one more time. If it's successful, I doubt we'll have a need for it in 3 months.
Correct.
If it's not successful, I doubt we'll have a desire
Exactly.
in 3 months.
And that's
So-
one thing that, you know, we're very specific about the outcomes. You know, in talking with Betty and Angela Lewis and Betty Greiner, is we know there's some risk at this, but we also want some reward or some benefit back from the investment. Shawnee County Department of Corrections, and I would say Shawnee County as a whole, we've put a lot of money into recruitment, a lot. And we're starting to see that return. You know, 2 years ago when we were doing this same amount, we were hardly getting anybody, and we stopped because it was just not an investment that I could fiscally or responsibly say we need to do. It has worked out very good here, but you're absolutely right, sir, that this is, we're getting to a point to where we can even start, and I don't want to say set back a little bit, but we're able to get our applicants to the academy a little bit more timely. We're able to keep the modules open a little bit more, and do now, and, you know, as Commissioner Cook said, getting some of our programs back as far as work releases back up and going, our drug and alcohol program. I have another meeting today about the women's recovery program we have at the jail and stuff like that. So we're starting to see, but trust me when I say this, I will not back down or from our recruiting effort, but it may be repurposing money. It won't be maybe here, maybe it will be something different, that maybe we do something. It doesn't have to be this always.
And your current staffing levels have reduced overtime, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's done very well.
Is that
Morale has been very well. We're not seeing a lot of forced overtime. Our numbers of overtime have gone down, and stuff like that. And so staff getting ordered, the burnout and stuff like that, you can just sense when I walk through the hall and I talk to staff, you can, you know, no one ever says it's fun at the jail to work or anything like that, but you do see staff telling me, it was a good day. Thanks for coming down and seeing us. And this was, we had a good day, and I didn't get ordered. I was able to, not worried about having to spend over on the 4th of July holiday or Mother's Day, Father's Day, that I wasn't going to get ordered. I was able to go home for our family. So us going to 12-hour shifts has been tremendous. They'd probably shoot me if I said we're going to go back to regular other shifts. It's worked out pretty well.
I know at one time, one of the reasons people were leaving is because there's too much overtime.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
so-
We were having staff that were getting ordered, you know, I know some people talk about the 12 hours. We were getting, ours is 16 hours a day, and we were having people getting ordered 2 or 3, 4 times a week. And staff were losing all their time with their family. And, you know, very emotional situation. It's like I can't count, except for my days off, which we don't order unless it's an emergency. I can't count on ever going home because they may need us. And stuff like this, so that's a tough one to swallow because, you know, I don't get overtime and I go home seeing staff getting ordered. That's a tough one, and so we're starting to reduce that.
All right.
I'll move approval.
You know, I'll second this. We'll give it another 3
Yeah,
months or
yeah, I
whatever.
think so.
See how we're doing. And so motion's been made by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item C, Public Works, number 1. Consider approval to apply for $168,000 in federal fiscal year 2023 Safe Street and Roads for All Planning and Demonstration Grant Funds to develop a comprehensive safety action plan. Shawnee County's share, $21,000, will be paid for using 2023 and/or 2024 Public Works operating funds or Public Works special highway funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. As the clerk stand-in said, I'd like to leverage $21,000 of Public Works funds for a total of $210,000, applying for Safe Roads for All planning and demonstration grant funds. This program, this SS4A program, is part of the bipartisan infrastructure law. And I hope to use this money to, I guess, complement or add to our recent completed KDOT Local Road Safety Program report. And hopefully then we have a comprehensive safety plan that I can submit to the feds to apply for implementation grant funds in the future. And implementation grant funds would be like project funds, maybe for a roundabout at 61st and Auburn Road, et cetera. So with that, I look forward to your questions.
Well, my question was, is there any limit on, I know these SS4A grants are pretty popular right now, it sounds like.
Yes, sir.
Is there a limit on how many applications we can submit on project funds? I know this isn't a project per se, but once this is done, I assume we're going to be applying for several.
I suppose you could apply for as many, I really don't know, Aaron, but I
Okay.
envision that you could apply for more than one. Now, whether you would be successful getting more than one, I would say your chances probably decrease. But other than that, that's the best I can respond at this time.
Okay, and then these grants also would likely benefit Parks and Rec in some way. Are they involved in the
I think these
process, or-
grants can be used for anything involving transportation, public transportation, whether public transportation means automobiles, bicycles, walking, pedestrian walking. I think these funds can be used for anything that improves the safety of the public using the public transportation system.
Okay. Any idea of timeline on this?
They're
When we
supposed
might
to
hear back?
announce them this fall.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Next item.
Item 5, public comment.
I don't have anyone signed up to speak, but if anyone's here would like to speak, I don't see anyone jumping up. Next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. I wanted to let everybody know that this Saturday, the 8th, we will be having a public engagement to talk about the Oakland Aquatic Project. There's a 5K, the Santa Fe 5K is going on that weekend, and we will have a booth there from 7:30 in the morning until noon. So encouraging people to stop by and give us their opinions about what they'd like to see on the project
Where's it going to be at?
at Oakland Billard Community Center,
What was that date again?
the 8th, this Saturday, from 7:30 to noon.
And are you posting this in Oakland so Oakland people know to attend?
We did. We sent it to the Oakland NIA president to post on the Oakland Facebook page, and we have it on our Facebook page, and we're trying to get the word out.
Amanda, if you can put it on the next door as well.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I'd say it might be good also to have that on our website, on the homepage.
All right. Commissioner Mays, do you have anything?
Well, I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July holiday. It's time to stop lighting fireworks, though. There were some folks up late in my neighborhood last night.
My family and I had the opportunity this weekend to go to play at Helen Hawker to see Sideways Stories from Wayside High, which is a favorite book of my kids, and had a blast. It was a lot of fun, and so I think it's a lot of people forget that Helen Hawker's having shows almost, on a very regular basis. Wasn't quite sold out. It would have been nice to see it sold out, but if you get a chance, I think their next show is coming up pretty soon. I think it's a Lightning Thief, I believe is what it's called. So if you have a chance, check that out.
Commissioner Cook?
Well, we're after today, halfway through budget hearings, and I know the tens of people are watching at home, and so we're working through our process.
You're generous in saying tens.
Tens, yeah, probably so. On that note, we do have budget hearings today. We start at 1 o'clock, goes to 4 o'clock. We're going to be doing Public Works, Parks and Recreation, Stormont Vale Event Center, Board of County Commissioners, County Council, Extension Council, and Fair Association. And so, should be a fun afternoon.
That's right.
Not as fun as listening to 70s music.
80s.
80s music.
Yeah.
All right, well, okay. Chris, what's next?
Executive sessions.
We do have a need for executive session. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 10 minutes for the following reasons. For the preliminary discussion of the acquisition of property, specifically to discuss property that would be used to operate or for operation of a county department. So we will do that. Let's start that at about 9:45. How would that be?
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. We are back in session. No action was taken at this time, so we are adjourned.
Back at 1 o'clock.